The next campaign in the engagement series is the Faux survey. Now, this email or this two-part campaign, depending on how you choose to use it, is 100% about increasing engagement. Now, I do want to make sort of a disclaimer here. It's called a faux survey not because there's anything deceptive or deceiving about it, or we're not answering the question or providing an answer to the survey question that you ask in your email, because we absolutely are. We're calling it a faux survey, or we call it that, because you're not actually using a survey solution. You're not using a survey monkey or something to aggregate the data and display in a pretty graph what it is. But that doesn't mean that you're not capturing data, and that definitely doesn't mean you're not leveraging data. Now, I don't want anyone to look at this and be turned off by the name. It's not a fake survey, it's a faux survey. And it's not that we're not delivering on the promise or answering the question. We're just not doing it in a traditional sense to where they would be sent over to some graphical representation. The answer is delivered. It's just delivered inside of a sales message. All right, so that being said, to deploy this campaign, you'll need to have a sales message. But if you don't, why are you sending an email about it anyway? Now, as the theme of this module seems to persist, or the emerging theme of this module, one of them, at least from my standpoint, is repurposing content. In most cases, you're not even going to need to retool your sales message. There is almost always going to be some question that is answered inside of your sales material. You almost have to. So if you're going to use this campaign, your first job is to review your sales message and pull out one question that you can have in a survey form. Now, if it's a question that has an answer that maybe goes against conventional logic, that's even better. But it's not necessary to deploy this campaign. You do need to make sure that you answer that question. That's why it's best to go and look at your existing sales message and pull a question from there. I promise you, if you look hard enough, probably not very hard at all, you'll find something. All right? So you need to have a sales message that answers the question. You need to pull that question out, and then you need to come up with 3 to 5 possible choices. I would probably split it in the middle and call it 4, but totally up to you. Now, each of these answers will be hyperlinked. I'm going to suggest that you hyperlink them each to a different hyperlink. Now, you can use a plugin, a WordPress plugin called PrettyLink, and create 4 different unique links, all with the same destination URL, so that you can go in and track people, at least how many people are choosing which answer, so that you can maybe cater your next message to the majority or the minority, depending. Or you can go in and, depending on your email service provider, you can actually create links in there that segment people, and you can respond to them based on their answer to the question. Now, I'm saying that as it pertains to a broadcast mail, because again, I'm recommending that the first time that you deploy any of these campaigns, you deploy them as broadcast messages. Don't automate first, automate second after you've proven that it works. It's the only way that you're going to be able to look objectively at your campaign and ask if it's working. You'll be drawn towards saying yes if you've put a bunch of time into automating it. So you'll kind of turn a blind eye to something that may not be working, may need some serious tweaks if you automate first. So be careful. Don't fall into that trap. So let's take a look in here real quick at some examples. Now, here's some example subject lines, and in this particular video, I'm going to do something a little different, and I'm actually going to pull up some emails, and I'm going to show you the emails, because it's hard to templatize this. It's very specific to not only the industry that you're in, but the product that you're offering, and more importantly, what the end result is. So some kind of pseudo templates are one item you need, or one item you must have, or one item you need to do this. You know, how much do this person make, or how much does this thing cost? What Obama's biggest failure or Apple's biggest failure. Best way to do this, best place to find this, or to go for this, or to get this. So these are polls, surveys. Survey end result works well. All you're trying to do is get people to engage and open this, because polls and surveys are passive. It's also a great way for you to get insight as to the mindset and at least where your customer or prospect is. So this is your initial subject line. The first thing you do is ask the question. Very first line, you ask the question of your survey here. Then please take your best guess below to see the answer. And you're going to give, in this case I've shown 4 answers, again 3 to 5 answers. Each of these answers should hyperlink and go to the exact same sales video. We tried to get super fancy with it and make 4 sales videos with different headlines to coordinate with the answer that they chose. We even tried different intros into the sales video based on the answer that they chose, and saw no significant bump in those tests than over just sending it to the default sales message, whether it be video or long form. So I would encourage you to start there. Again, you can add complexity and add little things to tweak your conversions as you go along, but don't start out putting that much into it. This is a real killer line. You really need to keep this in, and if you're sending to your sales message, there's no reason why you can't. Or skip the survey and just see the results below. So if you've done a good job in asking a question and either someone has no opinion or doesn't feel like sharing their opinion, instead of them leaving, you're still letting them kind of cut in line and do nothing but get the answer. But it's okay, because they're going to your video or long form of sales letter. I cannot tell you enough how important it is to answer the question. You will make no sales and get flooded with support issues and questions if you do not do that. So make sure. That's why I want you to pull it from the existing sales message, but make sure you're answering whatever this question is in your sales message. So you're going to go ahead and close and then come back with a PS. PS, you're going to be shocked when you see the answer. I know I was. See if you were right here, and then link back over to it. Okay? So if you only want to send the one email, that's fine. If you're wanting to send both emails in the message, or in the campaign, you should send the second email a day or two after. If you want to make sure, depending on the tail of your emails, if you want to make sure that enough people have had time to click, feel free to send it 2 days. If you want to get it out there while you have the hyper responders, feel free to send it the next day. It's fresh on their mind. I send this to everyone whether they took the survey or not. So you have 3 choices here. If you want to go super bold and potentially ruffle some feathers, the survey results "you were wrong" subject line is for you. If you want to not be quite as boisterous, you can go with the survey results "were you right?" and then a curiosity, the survey results "was this your answer?" So yesterday I asked the question, pretty simple here, just paste your question, and then link over here. Don't give any explanation as to why you're linking here, right? Just a link. I was blown away. And then how many people voted? Over 10,000 people voted, but less than 1% knew the right answer. Be honest here, okay? And that's why I'm back to my soapbox for a second. If you're broadcasting first, you can create this and you can be honest. So again, over 10,000 people voted, but less than 1% knew the right answer. Don't worry, I was wrong too. If you're going to come out and tell someone they were wrong, you have to be somewhat self-deprecating as well. Think of almost like a Blackie story. I was wrong, I was just like you, I met this person, or I found this thing and they told me this, and now I know, but I didn't figure it out on my own. So you're not positioning positioning yourself as the person standing on the pedestal, pointing down at them, saying you were wrong. You're saying we were wrong, but I have some knowledge, and now I want you to have that so that you know what the right answer is. It's much better positioning. So, were you one of the 1% that got it right? Watch this video I put together to find out. You're going to link back over. The answer may surprise you. Your name. That is it. But don't be fooled by the length of this particular campaign. This is a campaign that will get emails. You will get responses. It will trigger emotions. And like I've mentioned before in this series, that's not always a positive emotion that it triggers. So I actually want to go over here, and first I want to show you a couple examples of ways that we've used this particular survey. So here's one that we sent out for our Authority ROI product, which is a product on blogging and how to monetize your blog, and a system to set up to build up viewership and readers and subscribers in your blog, how to get writers and have them give you traffic, and then how to monetize that traffic. So in this case, we sent out this email. Poll: how much money do bloggers really make? And you'll see down here, how much money do you believe bloggers really make? Please take your best guess below to see the answer, or skip the survey and just see the results below. Now this part right here is very important. It's a little toggle button. It's a simple image, and it's literally hyperlinked to the same place as this is hyperlinked. Okay, so each of these are hyperlinked through a link that I can track unique clicks. They're all going to the same place, and initially when I broadcast this out, before I put this in my automation series, I don't even necessarily need to segment people by their answer. I may never need to do that, but it's important when I'm writing my next email to know what percentage of the people who voted took what choice. Again, I don't have to tie that back to the actual person. I just need the raw data of the numbers. So using something like Pretty Link, or honestly creating these as individual links inside of your autoresponder or email service provider is going to be the best way to do that. So here's one example. This worked very well. Let's see. Now in our survival and preparedness, or in this case, this was more of our right-wing conservative, almost political list. So the subject line was survey: safest place to go when all hell breaks loose. Dear Patriot, where is the safest place for you to go when all hell breaks loose? Take your best guess. I bet you'll be surprised by the answer. A, B, C, D. Again, all of this should look familiar because we just went over it almost verbatim. 2 sentences changed in a totally separate business and a totally separate vertical. And that's about it. Now, the survey results, let's see. You were wrong. I decided now Survival Life is our preparedness division. In another one, I decided to go the first time we triggered this with the survey results. You were wrong, and here's what it looked like. Yesterday I asked you the question: if you were stranded in the wilderness, which of these skills is guaranteed to get you out alive? Here's a link. And you can see this is actually a line of copy. Okay, if you're using your link shortener or your link masking correctly, it should be a line of copy. So right here I'm reading survivallife.com. Were you right? It may have been more powerful if it were you were wrong. I was blown away. Over 10,000 of you voted, but less than 2% knew the right answer. Were you one of the 2% that got it right? I put this video together, or watch this video I put together to find out. Remember, we're all in this together. And then in this particular email, because it was used right before the Going Gone series, right before they decided to close this offer because it was part of a initial product rollout and a launch, they put in some scarcity. The response to this course has been simply amazing, which is actually unfortunate. We're quickly reaching the limit on the amount of new members that this course can take, and we're going to have to shut it down soon. Don't wait any longer. Click the link below now and get started before it's too late. all of these links are going to the exact same place, which may have been a strategic error. Not that they're going to the same place, but they're all the exact same link. I now, if I've read all the way down here, don't necessarily believe that I'm going to get the answer that I was promised up here down here, because it's the exact same thing. I'm pretty sure that this has been framed to tell me that this is a sales message or an order form or some place for me to give money. So keep that in mind. Even if they go to the same place, you could go in here and say, get started today. Even if it went to the exact same place, you do that through a plugin you install or through just a redirect script. It's not a big deal. Let's go back and look at one more example. So here's another one. Poll/results, Obama's biggest failure. Again, this is our political list. It is right wing. Now, I'm not going to go in and say that this has any bearing on my political views or points, and I don't believe we need to get into that, but this is one of our businesses. So, Dear Patriot, Obama's presidency has been nothing short of a horrific failure from beginning to end. He's trounced on freedom, the Constitution, religion, and kept our country in economic neutral for 5 years now. And don't get me started on Obamacare. So tell us, what do you think is his biggest failure? Click on your answer to see the results of our poll. You see how this needs to be catered to a question. It doesn't necessarily have to be a question. It can be or a question about how much do you think this is. It can be something that people are very passionate about, and that's when it works better, right? People who hate Obama hate Obama. People who hate George Bush hate George Bush, right? There's an absolute enemy for everyone. And thinking back to the very first assignment in this coaching program was your company profile. And one of the questions that we asked there was, what do you stand for? But in the explanation video, we told you need to know who you stand against. This is a place to use that information. Who do you stand against? Let's call them out in this email, because this is about engagement. This is about getting people to click, and if there's a common enemy, now is the time to stand united against them and get some emotion going from your list. Speaking of emotion, so the first time that we sent this, when I made the decision to go with the subject line, survey results, you were wrong. This is one of the emails that we got back. This person was very adamant that they were not wrong, when in all reality they actually were, but went out of their way to write in an email here stating all the ways at which we were wrong, and then telling us the correct answer, and going into some, again, great detail as to why we were wrong. So don't be surprised if this particular campaign gets more replies than some of the other ones in the engagement series, or honestly some of the other ones in any of the series or phases that we're going to talk about of the machine. But don't let that scare you away. This is an incredible campaign, and it does its job very well. Remember, increase engagement. So don't forget to leverage that common enemy and really reference back to that company profile sheet to come up with not only your question, but your answers and your framing for the Faux survey. So that's it for this particular campaign. We're moving on. We still have more campaigns to go in the engagement series. I'm going to end this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.